Yeah, so greetings, people. Coming over here, it's EJ Hot again, Astrology, back at you. I'm gonna dig a little deeper today into the astrological interpretations of what's going on in the world today. How things are playing out from an astrological perspective. We're gonna deal with certain aspects of society today and go over some things from an astrological perspective and see if we can touch upon some key points within the scope of the narrative so we can definitely kind of pinpoint what's going on with these energies. Now, we're going to do a sort of a freestyle, so there will be no calculations, no working with moon phases or aspects or none of the traditional stuff. We're going to utilize our eyes and ears to see what's going on and to have a better perspective as to how we can interpret these current events that's going on. Now, as you all may know, we see a lot of celebrities being framed and turned into ridiculing these celebrities for some behavior that's unbecoming in a natural perspective. Like we got Diddy with the lawsuits and these women coming out saying they're gonna, they're suing him for millions of dollars. So let's dig into the astrological viewpoint of that. Now, we know that Diddy is a Scorpio. Scorpios can tend to be secretive, to not talk about what they do behind closed doors. I'm a strong believer in what's in the dark will come to light. Your behavior will manifest itself for all to see. And I believe that's what we're seeing right now. The boomerang effect. So you can be put on a pedestal so high, you can have so much money, but then the Bible says it best. And I'm a strong believer in the astrotheological explanations that the Bible has to offer. And this Bible says that what is it a man to gain the world, have riches, to have, all the women he could have, all the beautiful women, all the riches, all the money, but to lose your soul. So what we're witnessing as a strong belief in a spiritual component is a breakdown to reality, separating the physical or the material world from the spiritual world. Now, although it appears that Diddy and others, in these high spots, as far as money in the African American community, it seems as though, they have it all. The big house, the cars, but it's nothing but an illusion. And we've been mesmerized by these things through the syndication of their music or their entertainment, or their acting or their movies. We've been, conditioned to look up to these people in a sense, which, I don't know if it garners that much respect because talent is among us. I believe that all of us have gifts that can shine and then are just as valuable of those with these illusionary, materialistic things. And I'm not going to make this video entirely about Diddy because I want to touch on some more subjects that's going on in the world. But since he's in the headlines and people, are definitely fascinated as to what's going to happen with him, we got to look into the astrological beyond the surface and understand the astrotheological aspects of the biblical narrative. Remember Job. In the Bible, Job was a rich man with plenty of livestock, with a huge family. and they lived very comfortably. You know, I would say that Job was a millionaire in comparison. But then all of that was taken away from him. It's a story, it's a narrative. I strongly don't believe that the Bible could be taken serious. I think that it is more of a spiritual book that can be a guide in a magical sense, because astrological and theological, astrotheology is an what you call a divine science. And to see between the lines and not take it serious, you do have to have the understanding that this divine science can shape and mold whatever goes on. If you put too much attention into the material world, and this is what you represent, this what it's going to backfire every time. That's what we're witnessing with Diddy. And there's more to come, because we're living in an age where these energies are prevalent. Everything is coming back to back. Karma is coming faster and faster. These things are happening to not just Diddy, but every ordinary people that's out here pushing it. So what you put out here is what's going to return to you. So we could just keep our eyes open with that. But from an astrological or astrotheological perspective, you know, chickens come home to roost. Hopefully, he survives this. You know, I don't wish bad on nobody. I don't know the man personally, so I have no judgment about his behavior, what he's doing. I can only say this, that there's only one kingdom, and that's the kingdom of the Most High. And when I say the Most High, I'm not talking about any religion or anything. I'm not a religious guy. I'm an occultist. I'm into the metaphysical. I'm into the unseen arts, mystical arts, or things that we can definitely describe in a way that can help shape and mold the physical world, but through a spiritual lens. Or the opposite of that. How about a spiritual world through a physical lens? Since this is what we identify with most, our physical selves. Let's get into these conspiracy theories concerning Diddy. You know, a lot of people are saying that he's gay, he's bisexual, he's this. We'll never know, or will we? But the Scorpio vibe is secretive, but yes, sensual. So I can't read him as to what he's actually doing behind closed doors. But I know that he's given himself over to an earthly power, and not a heavenly power, an earthly power that will undoubtedly break him in the end. And I feel for all of these people that want to be celebrities and everything in this short span of life, these 70, 80 years that we live on this planet. How? Or no, maybe more, but how is that in comparison to the billions and millions of years that life and this earth been in existence? It's minuscule. So the creator is everlasting, truly everlasting. And he meant his creation to be reproduced in that aspect. And when I say he, I don't know if God is a he or a she or whatever. It's androgynous in my perspective. So, almost caught one there. Yeah, so that's Diddy. I'm going to go into something else now. I'm going to speak about what's going on in the Middle East. We're going to talk about this war in Palestine and the occupation of Palestine by the Israeli government. Now, Israel, the claim is that they've been scattered among, Europe, and they weren't scattered nowhere else because they're European looking. I don't know, I don't have a DNA. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an anthropologist. I'm an astrologer. So I dig deep into those different realms of beliefs and how that understanding. But from a physical sense, they do resemble Europeans. They don't resemble Africans or anybody that would be in that area of the globe prior to, I would say, the Arab invasion. So, which was years ago. So the science behind, this war, I believe, from an astrological perspective, the science behind this war is, I think it's just a precursor to a much more bigger agenda. When I seen the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, speak in disdain for the people over there in Gaza and calling them animals and everything, because I don't think he was specifically talking about the Hamas or the terrorists or so-called terrorists. I don't think he was specifically talking about them. In my opinion, I believe strongly that he was referring to the people over there. Now, a genocide, homicide, whatever side, is on the far side, of course, because to have that type of heart to not be moved by the destruction of women, children, elderly, their way of life, some not only being bombed and killed and dismantled, but also starving them to death. This thing is inhumane. So these inhumane acts, I'm not really talking about astrology. I'm talking about what we see, what I know was guiding this. I'm gonna get to that. But what we see is an atrocity, is inhumane, and the world can't do anything about it because they have a strong grasp on the minds of the public, because guess what? Israeli connections run a lot of industries. I mean, let's say, you name it, any industry. I don't even want to, it's so many that but mainly those influential industries that definitely put things out, like the news and entertainment. These things are definitely in their grasp because they invented it in order to manipulate the propaganda machine. And, the world's just going to stand by because, the United Nations is bought and paid for. I would say 90% of the world is bought and paid for. What you see, don't believe it. What you hear, don't believe it. Only thing that we can definitely concur with is that these atrocities will not go unpunished by a much more stronger spiritual force in the universe that is present within creation. See, creation defeats itself if there's an issue. Now, we're children of the sun, those who are melanated beings, such as myself and others, but not only melanated beings, but we're all melanated, just certain levels of melanation. And, we belong where we belong. I'm going to get deeper into that area and the whole story behind the diaspora, what's going on with how they switched the maps and how they switched the global understanding of how north was south and south was north. And then I'm going to break that down on a map and show you guys, what's really going on and how they reverse your thinking. See, it's called reverse engineering. When you can reverse the mindset of people on an everyday basis and have them to think what you can control the mind, you can control the body of these people, of all people. And they use these tactics and this propaganda machine and this entertainment industry. That's why I'm jailing the two, the Diddy situation and that Middle East stuff. I think it's connected from a spiritual side. And we're going to dig deeper. I'm going to dig in other videos. I'm going to see what I can do to pinpoint. I'm doing my research, people. But I'm going to bring it to you. I'm going to give you the truth. Because the truth you need to know. And we need to stop believing these lies that these oppressive, maniacal people have, perpetrated to the citizens of the world, and I'm definitely proposing to bring them up on charges so they might see that the people are not going for it. But who's with me? A lot of people are afraid of them, the powers that be. And they don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. Together we stand, divided we fall, but we rather fall than stand. If we can have a one collective agenda that would dismantle the powers that be. And we will replace them with a new heaven and a new earth. Everything will be brought back to peace. Chaos will be overturned into balance. The destruction of these people, I'm not praying on, but I'm praying for a reversal. I'm tasked to bring you guys the truth, to give you guys the skinny on what's going on. I want you guys to realize that, hey, I'm on YouTube, I'm doing these videos. I was hesitant to do that at first, but I think now is the time for you guys to get educated about who you are and the truth. And then keep tuning in to these knowledgeable videos, and then keep tuning in to what I have to explain to you. And definitely I would love to go further and further and deeper into this as the days go on. But that's my take on Diddy situation from an astrological perspective, astrotheological perspective, and that's my take on the Middle East crisis. But there's more to come with that, and more to come with Diddy. Stay tuned, and it was definitely a pleasure. Astrology forever. Over and out. Have a good one.